Breaking news that has shocked the NFL world. Calvin Ridley, the Falcons star receiver, subject of trade rumors, of course. Well, he's not getting traded. Ridley has been suspended for the entirety of the 2022 NFL season at minimum for betting on NFL games. This suspension will last at least a year. The most recent example of another NFL player being suspended for betting on games was then Cardinals defensive back Josh Shaw, who was suspended 16 months in total, or just under 16 months, back in 2019. He was a backup special teams player, so it didn't matter that much. But Ridley's suspension is a massive deal for the NFL. For Ridley, well, he took to Twitter, and my guy put the phone down. Do not tweet your way through it. He says, I bet $1,500 total. I don't have a gambling problem. Do you know what people who have a gambling problem say? They don't have a gambling problem. Ridley knows you cannot bet on NFL games, whether you are on an active roster or not. By the way, he bet on games involving the Falcons. He did some parties. He bet on them to win, which the NFL says he had no insider information. He's on the Falcons. He's bet on against the team he played against earlier this year. Come on, he's got insider info there. Let's not be silly here. Andrew Siciliano says this: Ridley placed parlay bets on NFL games using his cell phone, per Mike Garafolo. By the way, Mike Garafolo also reports this, that the NFL worked with their gambling partners to gather the information. Because it was Ridley using his name, his phone, etc., that triggered the alert within, I think it was one of the Miami sports books, Hard Rock. Hard Rock was where he bet it with. And they sent that information over to the NFL, who then, of course, have suspended Calvin Ridley for placing parlay bets on NFL games, including one he bet on the Falcons to win. On field, we'll focus on that here now. Obviously, a pretty massive impact for the Atlanta Falcons. This is huge. Now, I will make note, I've seen misinformation out there already. The bets came after he left the Atlanta Falcons for his personal reasons, which remain undisclosed more or less at this point. So it was not he bet on games and then left. He left and then bet on games. With the suspension, Calvin Ridley's contract will toll, meaning it will not count this upcoming year. He will not be paid, and the Falcons will not have that on their books. So they actually save about $11 million or so in salary cap space with the suspension of Calvin Ridley, which is still not great for the team, given the trade rumors around him and, of course, the lack of having your best receiver on the team. So what is your one-word reaction to the Calvin Ridley news? Mine was wow, but I want to hear from you guys. Maybe bad's a good one there, or big, something like that. This is the pinned comments on today's video, so if the ad break comes on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there, let me know one word only what your reaction was to the Calvin Ridley suspension news. Here is in part the NFL's statement on the suspension of Calvin. We'll break down their statement, Goodell, and then the Falcons' response as well. Commissioner Roger Goodell today suspended Calvin Ridley indefinitely through at least the conclusion of the 2020 season for betting on NFL games in 2021. The activity took place during a 5-day period late in November 2021, while Ridley was not with the team and was away from the club's facility on the non-football illness list. Here's what Goodell stated in his letter to Ridley. There is nothing more fundamental to the NFL's success and to the reputation of everyone associated with our league than upholding the integrity of the game. This is the responsibility of every player, coach, owner, game official, and everyone else employed in the league. Your actions put the integrity of the game at risk, threaten to damage public confidence in professional football, and potentially undermine the reputations of your fellow players throughout the NFL. The Falcons' response was this: we were first made aware of the league's investigation on February 9th. We have cooperated fully with the investigation since receiving notice and support the league's findings and actions. We're moving forward in the 2020 season with the decision that was made. With the decision that was made by the NFL, any further questions on the investigation should be directed towards the league office. The future of Ridley, I think, is at least a question mark. He left the team last year for personal reasons, now is suspended for at least an entire season as he tweets his way through the suspension, which is never a good idea. So will Calvin Ridley play again in the NFL? Y for yes or N for no? Make your predictions for me in the comments right now. All right, more conversation here on Calvin Ridley. This is a very massive loss for the Falcons. I will make this note, though. It's not like we weren't aware Ridley might not be on Atlanta this upcoming year. Now, the trade rumors were around Ridley. They save over $11 million in cap space, somewhere in that range. I'll also make note this would void his base salary, his guarantees that were left, meaning if you want to cut him, you can now from a contract perspective. It will toll. He was set to be in the last year of his deal. Now he has next year as well because it will toll, will not count this season. Really didn't play that much in 2021, only 5 games played, but when he was out there in 2020, he was one of the better receivers in the NFL. Was so good, it made it more palatable for the Falcons to move on from Calvin Ridley, or move on from Julio Jones because, hey, they had Ridley. And now the question mark is, will he ever play again for the Atlanta Falcons? Now, as long as you're not an active NFL player, you can bet on NFL games. Yeah, no irony here whatsoever. Today's show presented by BetUS. As long as you're following the rules you have with your employer, go bet on the NFL. Maybe you can make some money, which Calvin I don't think won any money placing his bets. 125% deposit bonus at chatsports.com/bet. Use promo code NFL Daily. $100 down, get you a 125% deposit bonus up to $600 down. So it's a pretty good deal as long as you're not an NFL player. Let's look more in depth now at this Falcons wide receiver room. So no Calvin Ridley. Several of your next best players are also free agents, Russell Gage namely. Frank Darby's on the roster. It's not good. It's not a good grouping in Atlanta at the wide receiver position with all of those free agents and just the lack of depth they have at the current moment. And this came amidst the rumors of, hey, maybe he ends up being gone there. I believe Chad Hansen was also recently added. Doesn't move the needle in any real capacity. So big-time trouble for the Falcons at the wide receiver spot. They got to find help. But we knew that going in. We knew receiver was one of their biggest needs. I don't think this is going to drastically alter their offseason plans. I think they were going to explore looking at other receivers anyway. And they've known this for a while, as Adam Schefter has reported. Multiple NFL teams reached out to the Falcons in recent weeks to inquire about trading for Calvin Ridley, and each time Atlanta declined to enter into any talks out of good faith, knowing the issues in store for their standout wide receiver. Now, make note, I don't think they have any other options. I would feel confident saying if a team, let's say 2 weeks ago, tried to trade for Calvin Ridley, the NFL league office would have said, now wait a minute, did Atlanta tell you about this? Because he's going to get suspended. And that would have been a big deal for the Falcons organization if they didn't operate in good faith. So they had really no other options. This video is up on both our Falcons channel and our main YouTube channel here at Chat Sports. If you want more coverage, hit that big red button and subscribe today. If you're watching on the Chat Sports channel and you're a Falcons fan, youtube.com/FalconsTV. My boy Thomas Mott posting videos all the time for you guys on that channel. And, of course, we've got daily NFL videos multiple times a day at this point right here on the Chat Sports YouTube channel. A question now for you guys, and I want honest answers here. How many other players you think bet on games? Now, this is not how many other players you think are poor enough to get caught or not wise enough to not get caught, but how many think are betting in some capacity? Drop a number for me in the comments right now. With Ridley suspended and Kyle Pitts at tight end, Russell Gage is now the Falcons' #1 receiver, which he was last year. He's a free agent, and I wonder if this will increase the urgency or the plan of trying to bring back Gage in free agency. The good news is for Atlanta, there's depth in the draft once again at wide receiver. They could go pick number 8 at receiver. Drake London, Garrett Wilson, Treylon Burks, Chris Olave, James Williams, or maybe they wait until round 2 with 2 second-round picks at their disposal, one of which for Julio Jones, to invest at the receiver spot, given their own issues that are plentiful on the defensive side of the football. If you're a Falcons fan and you haven't already, go subscribe to our Falcons-only YouTube channel at youtube.com/FalconsTV. I'll make sure that link is in the comments section and in the description.